All right, hold on a minute. I just want to say thank you to all the people who went and ordered my new mini comic Rebirth from my big cartel. There's a link in the description if you haven't yet. Go pick it up. This is part one. I'm going to do part two pretty soon. And thank you to all the new patrons I have on my Patreon. You guys are helping keep this channel going. And it's a lot of work, but I do it for you. Thank you. Enjoy this new video. I remember you saying once that like if somebody just happened to make like an unpaid they didn't notify you that they were coming over, they just like happened to stop by, they would give you like a panic attack. Like your friend,
Yeah.
hey, we were just in town. We thought we'd come ring your bell, like that.
Yeah,
That's how you get into your circle is by not showing up, by
literally.
twice a
Yes.
year seeing you, and then
Yeah,
then you
I
club.
mean, it sounds bad, but um it's just like it's like there's so much love in the longing. Do you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
where and I feel like I'm always so self-conscious. This is why like I don't know if Laura and I will ever have a real wedding because ours got canceled because of COVID. Is
Hmm.
that I the thought of someone not wanting to spend time with me when they're with me
Hmm.
like makes me want to throw up. Because
Hmm.
like I'm such an introvert, so it's like very painful to like go out and do anything. And like whenever I think about someone else wishing they were at home in bed when they're at my house, it's just like I hate it. And so like nobody likes going to, at least I don't like going to weddings. So I assume nobody else likes going to weddings. Which maybe isn't the case, but just the thought of like people feeling like they have to hang out. So I just kind of like it relaxed. Like if it happens, then we both really want it. So it's going to be like a good time for everybody. And
Hmm.
that's kind of the way that I approach interaction.
Hmm. I do that with like if there's like a cartoonist, like if I cross paths with Chris Ware or something,
Hmm.
I will consciously make the effort to say goodbye to him for to end it first, so that I'm
So
not
thoughtful.
lingering around like asking more questions, What happened was I was on tour with John Porcellino in like 2009, and he was like, "We're gonna stop in Chicago and we're gonna have dinner with some friends. It's Ivan Brunetti, Chris Ware, and Jeffrey Brown."
That's so
I
crazy.
was like, "What?" Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, What?" Oh. And I remember like us parking the car and then walking down the street and turning the corner, and right in front of me was Chris Ware and Ivan Brunetti just on the street having a conversation. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah. That's book wild, man. Yeah, that's fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
I was like
It's
25 years old. Like it was like
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Like I've heard you guys on This American Life, and now you're
Right.
right in front of me.
Yes, I mean, I still feel that way, even talking to you. Because, like, we've been friends for a couple of years now, but I've been a fan of your work for so much longer than that. Like, I
Wow.
think I still have that, like, sparkle and sense of, like, awe that I get to talk to people whose work I love and admire. It's
Yeah.
it's really wild. Yeah, it still happens to me all the time. And I try and play it cool because I don't want to, like, come on too strong, of course.
Right.
But it's still pretty, it's I don't know if it'll ever get old. How could you get used to something like that, you
I
know?
don't know. Well, we've kind of
Yeah.
learned, yeah, we both kind of, as we've gotten older, learned to like cool it. We're like, all
Cool
right,
it. Yeah.
cool it. Just chill out, man. Just chill. Like, don't scare these people away.
I mean, like I can sit in awe of somebody, but like I'm not afraid of them. Like I
Mhm.
can like respect them, but I don't know. I think it's a gift of sobriety. Because I definitely wasn't like this. I mean, I would just get crushed by any man who wanted to crush me. I just was so crushable.
When you got into comics, wasn't it, everybody kind of has like those cartoonists that are the doorway from which, how they enter the art form to
Hmm.
practice it themselves. And like, was it Chris Ware and Ivan and like New Garden and those guys?
Hmm.
They were
Yes.
your doorway into practicing comics,
Yes.
drawing
I
comics?
think so into drawing comics, it was specifically Chris Ware and
Hmm.
Jimmy Corrigan.
Okay.
and it was really cool because I talk about like his influence on me all the time, but I guess he doesn't know. Because in Chicago, when I think it was in a Q&A, or Ivan had asked me about how I got into comics, and I was able to just like say what I always say, but I, for some reason, I felt more emboldened to be more honest, because he was there. That was the first time he ever heard the impact that his work had had on me, and like how I see it, and how I approach and understand his work. And it was like so incredible because when I first read Jimmy Corrigan my freshman year of college, I had taken a alternative American comic seminar, which was like super unusual at Harvard. I don't know if there'd ever been like a comics class of any form,
Hmm.
until that seminar. And I took it and I read that book. And that day I went back to my dorm room because I was so inspired. I drew my first comic strip. I
Wow.
was like, this form is like the superior form of
Yeah.
art. Like his work just like went straight through me and like dispersed into my personhood.
Mhm.
Um, and I like didn't know that art could do that. Like it just really was like everything kind of just like pivoted for me creatively. And I became obsessed with the form because of that book and his ability to like communicate human pain through sequential art. It just it was shocking to me. It was really shocking.
Well, and so you were doing paintings before that, right?
Yeah, yeah, primarily paintings, but also like I done some ceramics, sculpture, printmaking, but primarily paintings and drawing.
Were your paintings narrative?
Yes, yes and no. Some of them were very narrative, and extremely violent. They were very, when they were figures, it was just like and cutting someone open and shooting someone's head off and just crazy, hideous imagery, just the worst kind of drawings that a young person can make. But I also was making these like abstract depictions of my parents. And they were very strange. I don't have any of that art anymore, but there are some photos of it that exist somewhere on like a backup hard drive. I was painting big, like very
Mm-hmm.
big, like 6 to 8 feet by like 3 to 5 feet, like giant canvases, because art supplies were free at my college, so I could just like, you know, go as big as I wanted to.
I wondered if your parents, if your family seemed sort of resentful that you were going to such a famous school, like if there was a lot of like, oh, look, we got the Harvard girl coming around.
Yeah, okay, it's interesting. So on my bio mom side, she was so enraged that I got in because she had sabotaged me going to take my uh which one? I took ACTs, I think. SAT, ACT. I took
Yeah.
ACTs and SAT subject tests. But she like didn't, she wouldn't wake up and take me to my ACT test. Like she did everything she could to sabotage. Like she like refused to let me stay after school for extracurriculars, things like that. So when I got in, she said, she told me, and I actually draw this in the book. She says, "You're not going anywhere." This is what she said to me. "You're going to stay here with me." And she said, "And you're going to clean." That's
Mhm.
what she told me. So I ended up actually having to run away. And I ended up moving into my bio dad's house, which was not good. But I had to get away from her because he was like, "Wow, like my daughter's going to Harvard, so that means I'm going to Harvard." Like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? He
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
basically consumed my identity, and he put my acceptance letter in his toolbox at work, which had only ever been full of pictures of my brother and
Uh-huh.
no pictures of me. So I finally got a place in his toolbox at his job. So, so he drove me to Cambridge. Otherwise, I would have had to hitchhike there, you know?
Yeah. And then when you started doing comics for the first time, like your subject matter was the same as what it was with your paintings. It was just like
Hmm.
from the very beginning, you're trying to work this out.
Yes.
And it just depended on the medium, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, the drawings I was making in high school even were about me trying to wrap my head around the abuse. I had this like my senior year of high school, I had this series where I depicted my bio mom as the Minotaur, and it was like, and the Minotaur was like cutting me open, chopping my legs off with giant scissors. I had like a drawing of I had a lot of really rough, really violent stuff. And I had to draw her as some other figure because I lived with her and I didn't want her to like see my art. So I had to like mask it somehow. And my self-portrait character actually was a naked woman, girl's body with a noose for a neck.
Mm.
Um, because I didn't even want her to know that that was me. I wanted it to just be violent art for art's sake, like, no, mommy, this isn't about you and me. Of course not. You're great. So, yeah, yeah, I've always been, this is like the only art I'm interested in making, apparently.
Right. Well, was it funny though? Were those comics funny back then?
No,
No,
they weren't comics. Those were just drawings.
just
The
drawing.
comics that I made back then, honestly, I don't know. I didn't find them funny,
Hmm.
but maybe someone did. Because I definitely was, as I am now, like just like pulling from comics history to like communicate the story, like with exaggerated reactions and facial expressions and things like that. So maybe there's like a little bit of humor there. But I think that those comics were just really guarded and really sad, those first ones that I made. Actually, they're in here if you want to see. The very first comics that I ever drew after I read Jimmy Corrigan are the ones that you have to turn the book horizontally to read. These.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I these are the digital versions of the pen and ink cartoons that or comics that I drew in my dorm room my freshman year. So these are all really old and I just reimagined them for the book.
Oh, okay. When you were at Harvard, you were the art director of the Harvard Lampoon.
I was, yeah, it was wild.
Was it a good magazine at the time when you were there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the humor is really wild, like just absurd. It's just my sense of humor. The kind of writing and the kind of writers that the Lampoon sort of nurtures and attracts. Yeah, I had a great time. I mean, it's tough when you're an alcoholic and you're in an environment where there's unlimited liquor and cigarettes. So
Oh,
that's why there's a little bit of hesitation because I had a great time, but I was drunk all the time and like that was not good for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then how is that? So I think you before we started recording, because one of the things I wanted to ask about was
Hmm.
how because you have to go out every day basically and talk about this book, which is dredging up all these terrible things. Like, is that um, are you caring for yourself at all? Like with this having to do this?
Yeah, thanks to you, Noah, actually. Do you remember I think it was 2 years ago or last year? It was last year, Heroes Con, when we were tabling next to each other, and you saw me talk to people and then go under my table and have a panic attack. Do you
Uh-huh.
remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
And you told me you like it changed my fucking life, dude. You told me you're like, Kayla, like you're here to sell your comics. Like you don't have you're like you don't have to have this kind of intense
Hmm.
relationship with strangers. And it just like had never occurred to me that I could have like boundaries, like spiritual, emotional boundaries with my readers.
Hmm.
And like, dude, I took that fucking seriously. Because if you remember, I wasn't selling stuff and I was just
Yeah.
constantly crying. Like,
Right, right, right.
the work is an invitation to connect. And okay, so what happened after that was I went to SPX and I just like really channeled you. And I told myself I was like, because I thought that like I was doing something wrong if I wasn't like really absorbing and integrating the stories that people were telling me about themselves because it's such a big deal. Like if someone
Right.
discloses that, like sometimes it's the first time they've ever said it out loud,
Hmm.
and then it like feel I'm not going to be like, okay, sorry about that. Buy a mini comic, like it's so serious.
Yeah.
But I think that there was something that wasn't healthy in my approach to that because I was new at this whole
Hmm.
experience of sharing my work. And then in SPX, I just like before I went down to table, I just like centered myself and did some like prayer and meditation and just like really tried to like think about the advice that you gave me and to try and like use it as like like an armor to go into the day. And dude, I sold out of my
Nice.
comics. I
Great.
fucking sold out. I didn't cry once. I had no panic attacks. I
Mhm.
had a great time. I walked away from SPX and I was like, oh wait, I don't hate tabling. This is
Yeah.
actually so fun. Because I allowed the work to be the vessel for
Mhm.
people's pain. And that's what you told me.
Mhm.
You're like the work is there for them. You don't have to be there for them.
That's right.
Changed my life. Yeah, I enjoy the selling of the work.
Hmm.
I actually find it quite delightful. Just like I'm a good saleswoman.
Yeah.
And I love advocating for myself. It's like it's so weird because I'm just so different than how I used to be. But like I really believe in this work. I believe in the impact that it can have and already is having
Hmm.
on other people. And it's like I just am my biggest advocate. Like that's why like it might look bizarre that I brand the hell out of my trauma, but like I want this shit read. Like
Yeah.
I'm a graphic designer, so like these are the skills that I have. And I'm just like, I'm generally pretty good at selling things anyways. And so
Hmm.
just all that combined with like this newfound belief I have in myself and in the book, I actually like, I've realized that I'm really good at talking about this and getting the word out and like selling, you know?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. That's great.
It's
Well, it's
great.
like the book is like such a masterpiece that like
Thanks,
it's
Noah.
incredible how it just like came to, I mean, I saw you every year with, and you'd
Mhm.
have I'd see the book in fragments, you know, and then to see it all pieced together, it's like, holy shit, this is like a giant achievement. It's
Oh,
great.
so nice.
The final sentence that you have in there like is really powerful. You
Really? You
know?
like
Yeah, I was
that?
like, oof. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It made me really think about it. Like for like days after I read the book, I was like just I had that just like rattling in my head. I was just thinking about it. Like it's true. Like it's sort of freeing in a way, you know, and maybe that's
Exactly. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but I watch a lot of true crime and like hoarders and stuff because I find it like really mirrors my childhood. Because like I'll see these stories of these just like hideous serial killers, and like the documentarian will like go in and investigate their childhood, and they'll like go into like five or six different like incidents that the murderer experienced as a kid, and I'm like, oh, check, 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 like th
yeah.
that exact thing happened to me. And like all of that turned this person into a serial killer. So like it's very validating to know that like it's things like that that refuse to allow me to gaslight myself. You know, like if I can relate to a serial killer's childhood, then
Hmm.
something really bad happened to me. And like I can't really deny that. It's like on TV, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's
And but
actually I find so much
you went the
comfort.
other way though. You know, like I feel like it's interesting you're such a capable person, and it's because you kind of had to. You were like you say in your book, like the surrogate spouse, like you had to learn how to do all these things that a child should not have had to do,
Yeah.
you know? Like you I always feel like maybe I told you this last year, but I always feel like your life's blessings are like backloaded or something because like the front half of your life was so rough that like the
I love
back half,
it.
I'm like, last time I saw you, like I went to an antique store and I found like an original Charles Schultz. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like to me, that's like
I
that. That's what,
know
yeah, you
too.
found two. Like
I
that's
found
like that doesn't happen to regular people.
Oh, I love that. And like for me, one of the biggest like examples that like so I just choose to believe in God because I mean I think I've talked to you a bit about this. It just
Hmm.
makes my life so much better and easier. And there had to be something to catch me when I lost my entire family due to estrangement because I was just like falling into the abyss. My mental health was like just fully unraveling. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like literally losing my mind after I went no contact.
Hmm.
And so I just like fell into the lap of basically like the tradition I was raised in, so Christianity. And like part of that is looking back on my life and choosing to see that like like God was there with me the entire time. Like that cheesy thing, it's like I was walking, what was it? I was walking with Jesus on the
Oh
beach
yeah.
or something. There's only one set of footsteps because he was
Yeah.
carrying something.
He was,
I don't know. But
yeah,
like
yeah. It's because he
that,
carried you or something like
yes, literally that is my spirituality, is
that. Mhm.
that stupid plaque. So I look back and like one of the clearest things I can point to that shows that like, oh, like God is definitely real and she loves me is that I met my wife Laura on the Fenghua bus in 2008.
Mhm.
And like she's literally my soulmate. And I felt it the moment I met her. And like we didn't go on our first date for like almost a decade later after I met her on that bus because my phone randomly called her out of the blue. I didn't even know I had her number. And like now we're fucking married. Like, come on. Like, I
Yeah.
can't take any credit for this, you know? It just it seems some of it just seems so obvious that it just is a little easier to credit it to you know, a power greater than myself than to say it's not. I don't know. It makes my life a lot better to say it is.
I believe it, I have the same belief system in you. I also believe in a God. I'm not an atheist or anything,
Oh.
And I have my own reasons. And I think if you come from a rough background, for me, I have everything that I could have hoped for as a kid or even in
I
my
love that.
20s, I'm like
Yeah.
I live in a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood. I know all my neighbors and I love them. I love my wife and I have two amazing boys.
Mm-hmm.
Like that there's no reason why I should be in the position that I'm in. It's what my secret heart always wanted, and I
Oh, your secret
somehow
heart.
wound up there, And it's like when I went to France for the first time because of comics,
Mm-hmm.
I remember like being there and just thinking like I should not be here. Like coming from where I
Mm-hmm.
come from, like I should
Right.
not.
I
People like
totally get
me do not get to come and travel, Like it's you feel.
Yes.
Do people here know that like slept on the floor with like roaches on me? Like do people know like
Yes. It's like if people really knew like what my hygiene was like as a child,
Right.
you know, like they would not think I'm cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had one pair of pants when I was growing up. As a teenager, I had
Oh,
one pair, and they were
sweetie.
pants that my brother Josiah bought me for his wedding, so I could attend. So they had pleats; they were pleated,
Pleated pants.
and I would just wear them. And it was like the late '90s. Like I tried to like sag them and stuff, but they weren't baggy. But like I would just
Oh
try
my
and sag them
God.
because that was the style and stuff. Have you done any comics since finishing this
Oh
book?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like 70 pages into my next project.
No shit. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
dude. Yeah. It's 10 times better than Precious Rubbish.
What?
It's
What are you
yeah,
talking
it's
about?
really good. It's really good.
Is
I'll
it
show you.
childhood stuff or what?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Childhood and like this like fucking woo-woo Christian shit that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I see now that I have like 4 years away from my biological parents, like when I was writing Precious Rubbish, I was in the middle of the fucking pain. Like I was being actively abused. I was actively going no contact. Like it just was very intense. And so I'm just like I have a lot more clarity on who they are and what they did to me. So the work is just, it's got a different vibe. It has like a different, I feel like, confidence in it, and a willingness to say it. Whereas there's some stuff I think in Precious Rubbish that, I mean, I don't know, I guess it depends on the reader, that
Right.
I don't say that I will say.
You have to read between the lines in a Precious
Exactly.
Rubbish to get a lot of it,
Yeah.
which is which is good in a way because can be kind of like safety pads or something for people because it's pretty fucking brutal. Yeah, wow, I'm excited to hear that. I was like, I think this is her comic. I don't think she's doing it anymore after this.
Oh, I'm doing a lot. I got a lot in me. It's coming out fast.
Wow.
That little comic, They Never Loved You, that I've been giving away on my book tour that I'll
Yeah.
give you when I
I
see
have
you.
one. I have one.
You have one.
Yeah, it came with my book. So
Oh, wait, or did you get the Popeye one?
yeah, yeah, it's the Popeye one. Is that not what you're talking
No,
about?
no, no. I'm talking about something else. This one you
Oh, okay.
haven't seen. No one's seen it. It's called They Never Loved You. It's different.
Okay.
The Popeye one is a little glopalduya, and that came as a promo for the book. But this one is so it's an excerpt of like this new thing that I'm working on.
Okay.
where so it's like I'm reappropriating Christian Archie comics, but then also medieval art at the same time. So like that's kind of what I'm using to tell these stories. And I'm doing a lot of silent comics. For some reason, I've never really done silent comics. It's like so much. It's like I'm saying I'm being clearer, but then I'm also making silent comics. So that's interesting.
Wow, that's really cool. It's so funny you talk about like, because I've been reading Archie comics to my son Remy like
Oh,
recently before bed,
cute. Yeah,
and then I started thinking like, wait a minute, wasn't there's a cartoonist named Patrick Ian Rooks? Do you know that guy? He's a
that
young
sounds very
guy.
familiar.
You would know him. Like we met him at Heroes Con one year. He was walking around and stuff. He's a great cartoonist, but
Did he
he
make the t-shirt?
yeah, the
I
Christian
have
art.
that shirt.
Yeah, me too. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about that when I was reading to my son. I was like, it popped back in my head, like, oh yeah, wasn't there like a whole bunch of like weird Christian Archies? I was like, did they ever collect those? Is there a book of those or anything?
There's not a book, but you can read them on the public domain for free. I have all
Okay.
the files. Yeah. 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 They're wonderful. They're
Yeah.
fucking deranged. I love them. And I think there Archie was Archie the Armageddon one, or was that just like a separate Christian comic? Because there's this one crazy trippy Armageddon Christian comic from that era.
I don't
I,
know. Like you talking about the 70s or when
yeah,
did,
60s, 70s.
are you talking about
Uh-huh.
the underground comic that's called like Armageddon's?
No, no, no. This was
Oh,
straight up
okay.
Christian. This is
Oh,
like Christian propaganda. Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. I'll have to find it and see what it is. It might not be Archie.
When so I know like because we're friends, so like I keep kind of veering this conversation off away from your book and everything. I'm sorry about that, but
Don't apologize. This has been so fun.
so the book Precious Rubbish took you years to do because I heard you say that like you're not the kind of artist who keeps sketchbooks. You only work when you feel inspired to. So like you would just be going about your business and then get triggered by something and be like, I need to I need to draw that. I need to figure out how to put that into the book, right? That's
Literally. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That book, so this book in particular, it took me 10 years, not because it takes me 10 years to draw 196 pages. Like
Mhm.
it's hard, but it's not that hard, you know? It's just that like the first I guess 6 years of that, I was making the work in spurts while my life was like absolute trash. Like I could barely literally have a phone call with a client when I was a freelancer. Like I was not sober much of the time.
Hmm.
And the depression was all consuming. And I was really agoraphobic. And the only people I saw were my abusers. So I was just like hanging out. My whole world was this nasty family of mine.
Hmm.
When I was living in Texas after college. And that's when I started making Precious Rubbish. That's when I was like, just like responding to whatever that pull was that I didn't understand because I had no intention of, doing anything with it. It just was nonsensical, really, like why I was drawing that stuff because it was so painful to make anyway. And then as I like time passed and I continued to make this work, and then I entered sobriety and I stopped completely for like I think 2 years. I didn't like put finger to mouse pad or whatever or like draw paint, nothing. I made no visual art during the early years of my sobriety because like I was like becoming a person for the
Hmm.
first time, and like learning how to pay my bills and like going to therapy for the first time and like trying to build a home with my wife and dealing with the loss of alcohol then resulted in a flood of memories and realizations
Hmm.
of my childhood that I had been suppressing since I was 10 because that's when I first started drinking. So my life was just not about comics. I wasn't, I had no ambition when it came to that. And then as things kind of started to settle, the desire and the impulse to make work came back. And then I was able to sort of start separating from my family. And then that's when Mark Newgarden, I like happened to meet him in person for the first time. And that's when he told me to pitch the book. And
Hmm.
so I already had the book basically written, but wasn't planning on pitching it, didn't think it was good, frankly. I
Hmm.
didn't know anyone would ever want to read it because it's just, it jumps all over the place, It's like purely instinct based. I wasn't making it thinking oh, this is a good literary device. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
this will be interesting to keep the reader's attention and whatever. Like there was no reader awareness, so I thought that that made it like shit art, you know?
Hmm.
But no, he was like, pitched this book. It's an excellent book.
Hmm.
And I did, and it got acquired by Fantagraphics, and then I waited even longer. I waited another like 4 years before
Yeah,
publishing it.
that's right. So what's the earliest stuff that's in the book? Is there anything from that's in the actual book that what you had
Mhm.
drawn 10 years ago?
Yes, actually, page two. So the first page of like drawing after the word search with words
Uh,
like things like that, you know. This is the very first Precious Rubbish page I ever drew in 2013.
wow.
Um, yeah, and it's me having like successfully died by suicide, and then it's me as a little ghost in the corner, and I say, "Oh, dearie me, I'm still Kayla. Nothing has changed at all." So this is just me, like just pure Kayla trying to figure out like what the hell, you know, like grappling with like the first time I attempted suicide, I was 10. Like that's fucking wild, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so, you know, I'm just like drunk and really sad trying to make art, and that's what came out.
Wow. And then you did you have to reformat stuff like once because this is all digital, so you go like, okay, the book is going to be
Mhm.
this, these are the dimensions of it.
Uh-huh.
Did you have to go back then and make sure that everything was formatted to fit those
I did.
dimensions, even though you drew it 10 years ago?
Yes, yes. Which was actually extremely tedious. It was a very tedious process. But the thing that was the most intense about putting this together was not just the technical reformatting, but I rewrote almost all of it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, I was rewriting it over and over and over again. So since once the book got acquired to the literally the day it went to the printer, I mean, I'm a recovering person. So like my mind is clearer every not every day, but like, you know, one step forward, two steps back kind of thing, you
Hmm.
know? So as I was editing this work, I would be like proofing it and like fixing the color, and then I'd be like, ah, like this isn't quite honest, and then I would delete it and like rewrite it, you know?
Yeah.
Which is one of the miracles of being a digital artist, at least like for me making comics about trauma impacted memory. It's so useful that it's digital because it's like malleable up until it goes to the printer. And my understanding of what happened to me is constantly evolving and changing and becoming more clear over time. So the book was just in constant evolution. I would just redraw the whole comic. Like I
Mm.
would just like maybe keep the backgrounds, but just like strip all the figures and then just start all over. Or I would like remove all the text from the speech bubbles and rewrite it. And like because I just wanted the book to be as honest as it could be in the moment that I was at.
Mm.
So it is as far as Kayla E could go at the point when I sent it to the printer. I can go further now, but like this is the snapshot of that moment in time, of as honest as I could be.
And that was scary at the time, but it's not scary for you now
It was
because
terrifying at the time. Yeah.
but now you're able to go further.
Hmm.
You're like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
that's
wonderful.
great.
I
Yeah, that's
love making comics. I had no idea that comics were fun. I thought it was just torture. It's like, why does anyone do this? It's a fucking nightmare. I hate it. That's why I don't doodle. Like, oh, it's such
that's
a
why I don't
pain.
doodle.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing fun about it because like the only stories that like the powers that be like allow me to have any interest in telling are just difficult ones. It is what
Mhm.
it is, you know?
Mhm.
And so up until this point, all the comics I'd ever made were just so triggering and painful and would give me nightmares and panic attacks. And I resented I resented the fact that I was an artist. Like it was causing problems in my life.
Mhm.
Because like I want to be an ordinary person who just goes about her life and like doesn't have to crack open her wounds and like dig out all the shit from it, you know? Like it's
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Like I never do it for fun, like on my own. At least I hadn't. But something really miraculous has happened since publishing this book and starting this new work is that not only is it coming so quickly, but I'm loving making these comics. I mean, it's still about hideous things like violence and like when my brother is left his dog out in the heat and it died. You know, like I'm making a comic about that for the first time and like the
Hmm.
dead dog in the backyard. Like it's not like I'm having fun because the subject matter's fun, but I'm just a much more healed person. So I feel stronger
Hmm.
telling these stories and it's not dissolving my soul when I'm writing it anymore. Like it's coming from a place of strength, you know? I mean, I think that Precious Rubbish came from a place of strength too, but I didn't feel strong, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the framework of my faith, using that as like so like the basically like the vibe of this new work is just like very much like being held by God. So like the I feel like this next book is like about me looking at these things that I've never been able to say before with this safety. So I think
Hmm.
that's I don't really have the words for it yet, and no one's read it, not a soul on the planet. So nobody's told me what it is yet either, which is kind of how I understand my work is when people explain it to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean too. Like you don't really know why you're doing something. You're just kind of doing it, and later on you go, "Oh, that's what that's about."
Yes, yes, every
Yeah.
time.
With my book Beat It Rufus that came out, I had no idea. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. It's just a goofy comic, but I know what it is now. It's like I was coming up on 40. I had spent I
Mm.
had spent 20 years, half of my life trying to be a famous cartoonist.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself at 40 years old, still struggling, not a famous cartoonist, kind of deluded into like why that was. Uh, and and I felt like, now I guess should I move on now or should I keep going? Because like how important is fame and success to me really? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't get what I thought I was going to get out of this when I was 20 years old. Um, but is that important to me? Like I mean I'm still, I'm
Mm.
still this is who I am. So that's a big decision. And I realized like after I was done with that book, I was like, that's what that was. That's what that was. Like I am that guy. And I'm going on this. And I realized that the way I even mapped it out from Denver to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is backwards from where my life went when I was growing up.
Whoa, that is so incredible.
Yeah, I was like all these things in there that I'm like, oh, that's
I,
autobiographical. Oh, I get that. Oh, I get that. Like, his terrible record contract, and they're like deluding yourself into thinking that you're owed more money than you are and all this stuff. And like, um, yeah, I was just like, oh, all right, see now. Like that was just like, this is my first middle-aged man book. That's what this is. You
Isn't
know?
it so crazy when the art reveals to you more about who you are?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's magic.
yeah.
It's
And
absolutely magic.
and the financial aspect of comics, like needing, okay, well now I need to figure out what to do about my that only ha once I became a father, that's the only before I was a dad, I was like, yeah, I've got $500 in the bank account. It's all right though. I'll get another gig pretty soon, like yeah, whatever, it's fine, it'll come. And I didn't think about it, It's
Yes.
just like now it's like, oh shit, I better figure out where the next money is coming from, like
Yes.
today.
It's just like, why are we in this profession? Because I'm with you. Like, I am very committed to making money. Like, we grew up in
Mhm.
just such devastating poverty. Like,
Yeah,
it's not fun to be poor. Like, we're
no,
like old now, you know? Like,
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
fun, funky, cool to just like be a poor person. I have no
no, no, no.
interest in that life anymore. Like,
No, and
it's so hard.
my responsibility now is to make sure that my sons are not raised like I was. And we were vegetarian when I was growing up, and that just meant like, here's some frozen corn for dinner.
Oh my God. It's so sad. Oh my God.
And you're like, that's a side dish, Mom. It's not a,
Oh, oh my God. I remember times when I would eat a literal can of mandarin oranges for dinner.
oh God. Yeah,
Or a
yeah,
symphony bar. But like at least they were the king size ones. You know, my
yeah.
dad would get
Yeah.
we would all get a king size symphony bar for dinner.
When I
And
was a
those were the
kid,
fun nights.
yeah, that's really your honey buns thing really depressed
Mhm.
me. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
sitting on a
yeah.
bed eating honey, like, oh, sitting in your underwear, just like eating honey buns on a mattress is so like viscerally, like, I don't know, like it really gets to me. I'm like, oh God. Like I kind of like I know that, like I know that
I'm
thing.
so
Like
sorry.
you know that scene in that movie Gummo where he's eating spaghetti in the bathtub?
Wait. When I was in college, I used to it was like my litmus test. I'd be like, watch Gummo because this is my childhood.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, me too. Me too. I was like,
that's our
yeah,
childhood.
yeah, like that was it. And not only that, the
That's it.
bathtub doubled as our sink. So like
Filthy.
it'd
Yeah.
be, yeah, the bathtub was disgusting, and I'm like sitting in this disgusting bathtub trying to get clean. Um,
This is so like holy shit,
so
dude.
it's so
I've
sick, but that's yeah.
I've never connected with anyone about Gummo being
Oh
like
yeah.
that's a comfort movie for me. It kind of always has. It's like cozy. It's just like home, you know?
Yeah, and everyone else is horrified by it.
Yes.
But that's what your book is like that too, where like I was laughing at so much of it, even though like I know that other people would be like, oh, like it.
Yeah.
But I think
It's
people who like grew up with like a terrible childhood, you have to
uh-huh.
find humor in it. You have to laugh about it. Like just the way you portray your mom as this disgusting, rotting, like slug thing.
No,
Like
that's what she looks like. Like I'm not
really?
even exaggerating. Like I literally am just drawing her as she is. I don't have to exaggerate anything about my bio mom. She is so intense. Like she's just a buck wild person who just like lives life to the extreme in the most evil way.
Yeah.
Like it's like and I can laugh about it now. Like I'm not callous or like living in
Uh,
delusion or anything because I have grieved the loss of my mom. Like when
mm,
I went no contact, I felt like I told myself that maybe she would miss me or that like she loved me, that I thought I would miss her, that like I don't have a mom anymore. And like I grieved like like the most intense human pain I've ever felt was when I lost my parents. Worse than any of the trauma or the abuse was when I went no contact with them. And like I remember just like I wrote about it in the book when I was just like sobbing on the couch, like the last story of the book, Remember, Please Remember, where like I was feeling so many conflicted emotions about walking away from my mom. Cause like I would think about times when that to me proved that she loved me because like one time she made me a toaster strudel, and I was like she wouldn't do that. Like really, I thought I was sobbing and I was like, she made me a toaster strudel. She could have let me starve. She must have loved me.
mm,
And like my poor fucking wife is like, Kayla, like that's not love.
mm,
Like that's not love. Also, she didn't want you to die because you were her servant. Like she'll keep you malnourished. Like she fed me enough to where I didn't collapse,
mm,
but like wasn't there was no love there. And like once I integrated that and I fully accepted that it was a liberation. It
mm,
was a full liberation from like the last tentacles of her brainwashing were like pulled, stripped from my mind. And now I see her for what she is, which is she's a fucking wild nutcase who like actually if I don't see her as my mom,
mm.
it's quite funny. Like, who walks around with Kleenex boxes as shoes because their legs are so pussy? Like, that to me is humor. And the
Jeez.
quote on the back of my book, I
Mhm.
think, is so funny.
How did
But
you
I'd
get
love
that?
to know what's that?
How did you get that a quote
She
from
sent it to
her?
my mother-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Huh.
texted that to my mother-in-law.
So, do you want to say what it is? I don't know if
Yeah,
you.
sure. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is the back of the book. It's a very shiny book, so sorry for the glare, but okay, so the drawing is it's 3D embossed, which is really neat. So that's my bio mom, my bio dad, and then my because I self, and they're just like manipulating me like a marionette. It's based on a Archie, Betty and Veronica cover.
Oh.
Okay, so this is what my bio mom wrote. She said she's texted this to my mother-in-law. Maybe deep down, Kayla realizes she's not here for me. It hurts that she moved so far away. Contacting me once in a great while is not the same as actually being here for me. Taking a quick break from work and asking how I'm doing doesn't give a realistic perception of the severity of my health issues and what my life is like on a daily basis. If she spent a little time with me, it would help her better understand my life. If my mother had to live in government housing and endure almost 8 years of severe bullying, harassment, verbal and emotional abuse, and traumatization, including threats of physical harm to her little dog, I would do everything in my power to protect her and move her to a safer place. I live in this hellish environment in addition to dealing with my severe health issues, which have progressively gotten worse. And it's even more painful because I have to deal with it alone. Thanks, Ma.
So she knows about this book though. Like
I have
she.
no idea. I don't know. She's such a narcissist, though. I don't know if she's Googling me, truly. I don't think she thinks about me. I
Yeah.
don't think she certainly doesn't miss me. I think she's just redirected her rage and obsession on the next person right in front of her.
Hmm.
Which is one of the mercies, I think, of her diagnosis, is that I just don't matter to her at all. So